Katie Price, Narcissist versus Daughter. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Car crash narcissist Katie Price is taking action in relation to her daughter. As I have explained in separate videos, it can often be the case that a young daughter finds herself in the position of the golden child vis-à-vis the narcissist. This is because that child embodies features of which the narcissist believes that they have, and in effect they live vicariously through that child, controlling them, triangulating the child with other people for the receipt of fuel, harnessing the achievements and perhaps physical attributes of that child and characteristics of the child's personality for the purposes of character trait acquisition, and utilizing that child to secure residual benefits. Like any individual, the child is but an extension of the narcissist and is utilized as an appliance. But often, the female narcissist will see the daughter, at least when they're young, as the golden child. As that daughter becomes older, the status of golden child often is lost, because then the daughter becomes competition to the narcissist mother. This is because, essentially, they have youth on their side. Their looks are more youthful. They have more energy. They perhaps may end up being more popular because they are able to be more prominent socially. It might be that they're actually more capable than the mother. And those character traits that the narcissist wants harnessed for themselves actually become more prominent because of the independence of the child and thus become a threat to control. The looks, the intelligence, the charisma, the abilities, the job, the hobbies, the achievements, whatever they might be of that child, then become a competition with the narcissist. The child becomes a threat to control and therefore loses the sheen of golden child, with the result that the narcissist sees them as competition and therefore must nullify them because of the threat to control that they represent. And we see this in relation to Katie Price's daughter, Princess Andre. Now, I haven't analysed whether she hitherto had the status of golden child in relation to Katie Price, but what we do see is the way that she is now viewed, or perhaps has always been viewed, as competition. An article by Lily Jobson for the Daily Mail explained Katie Price condemned her daughter, Princess Andre's, upcoming ITV2 documentary as she broke her silence on reports of a feud. Now, we know that Katie Price treats her son, Harvey, as an extension of herself, as the man that he is now suffers from various disabilities. And what she has done is treat him as the appliance that she subconsciously sees him as by thrusting him into the social media spotlight without any due concern as to how it might impact him. She does it as a means of controlling an audience, drawing fuel from them, and utilizing him as a residual benefit to try and make money. To put it bluntly, she doesn't give two shits about the lad and utilizes him, which is particularly onerous as a consequence of the disabilities that he experiences. There are many who think that she's a smashing mum to him, but they fail to understand that this is the work of a narcissist. She continues to utilize Harvey in a benign way, not so benign for him, but she believes it's benign by showing them in bed together, which invariably results in many criticisms about the appropriateness of lying there where it appears to be naked or half naked with her adult son. The fact that she regularly portrays things that he's doing, which could be construed in a harmful light for Harvey, underpinning her absence of emotional empathy. But she sees him as painted white because she likes to highlight him and talk in good terms about him, even though her actual behaviour is detrimental to his well-being. But when it comes to her daughter, in her latest podcast episode of The Katie Price Show, the mother of five insisted that her issue was not with Princess, but in fact her daughter's management, who also just happened to work with her ex-husband, Peter Andre. And therefore, what she's doing is she is painting her daughter black as a consequence of the association with her father, but blame-shifting it onto the management. Calling Princess, age 18, her best friend, lack of boundary recognition, Katie, age 46, said that she fell out with the management team when she split from Peter, explaining, I always said, over my dead body, would I ever want her to manage my kids because she doesn't like me and Pete and I don't talk. In other words, because you don't like me, this is the manager, you're a threat to my control. You're now painted black. That means I don't want you interfering in my control of my children because you're painted black. It's nothing to do with whether the individual is an effective manager. It's nothing to do with whether the manager might actually do a good job for her daughter. It's all about the narcissist's need for control. And the result is she behaves in a way which is causing a problem for her daughter. I was very, very, very upset that Princess signed with them when she was 16, she said ahead of Princess's documentary, which airs this Sunday at 9 p.m. on ITV2. I dare say you won't be wanting to watch that. Note, it's all about how the narcissist feels. No concern for how it impacts upon her daughter, but all about how she feels. Katie added that Princess's management thought of her as trash. Well, that's either paranoia on the part of the narcissist, or they do, and you only have to look at the way that she's lived her life to reach the conclusion, well, if somebody does think of her as trash, she's only got herself to blame. She claims she was deliberately cut out of the show because she's not welcome. Or perhaps it's because it's not about you, Katie. It's about your daughter. And whilst one might reasonably expect that you would get mentioned because you're her mother and you're famous, there might be grounds for them deciding we don't want to involve you because you're such a car crash of a human being and the world does not revolve around you. Katie and her producer Glenn then alleged ITV and the management team turned down her offer to film for free for 3 days. Some acts of desperation in order to assert control and elbow her way into the centre of things. An ITV2 spokesperson has since denied claims that the channel did not want Katie involved in her daughter's show. Growing rumours of a rift between the mother-daughter duo have been growing in recent weeks after Katie did not appear at Princess's 18th birthday party. Another example of how the narcissist regards a child and their birthday as a threat to their control. As I have explained many times in separate videos, narcissists hate other people's videos. Birthday parties. Reports then claimed the former glamour model was allegedly banned from appearing on the Fly on the Wall television series. On her podcast, Katie said, I want to clear up some rumours. In other words, I want to nullify the threats to control. I'm going to be very articulate. Good luck with that. And just real. Also good luck with that. Being honest. Good luck with that. And telling the truth. A la This One's Wife, Her Truth. Princess's show, The Princess Diaries, comes out Sunday, and there has been all of these rumours that there is a rift between me and Princess. There is absolutely no rift between me and Princess. We have never, ever, ever, ever had an argument to this day or a disagreement. We get on like best friends, mother and daughter. Princess lives with me and she stays with her dad. She has been staying with her dad the past 2 months because she's been filming her show. Our personal life together is amazing. People need to know, when I was with Pete, we were both managed by the same management, and people will know who that is if they watch our shows. And she managed Pete before he was in the jungle. She controlled the narrative of me and Pete, photo shoots when we could hold hands. She was the dominator of it all. Naturally, Katie Price made no complaint about all of that at the time because it suited her needs. But now, it's a problem because it threatens her need for control. And the consequence is, she complains. She continues by moaning, and when I split with Pete, obviously Pete stayed with that management and kept me and Pete apart, which people don't know, and then it started that Team Pete, Team Kate thing, which was out of my control. And I always said over my dead body, would I ever want her to manage my kids, because she doesn't like me and Pete and I don't talk. I'm very, very, very upset that Princess has signed with them when she was 16. I wasn't asked to look at any contract. Why would you be? She's probably got lawyers. She probably spoke to her father about it. So I don't know what contract Princess has signed. In other words, is a threat to control, and you think through your sense of entitlement that you should know. Because it's all to do with that side. People need to realise, because of that management and Pete, I am very disregarded as a mum. In fact, I am nothing to them and never will be. Well, quite probably you've brought that on yourself as a consequence of your own conduct, but your narcissism doesn't allow you to accept responsibility for your behaviour, therefore you blame shift and point the blame at Peter Andre and the manager. Now, she is managing Princess and Junior. It is out of my control. I want the best for them always. I will never get in the way of it. So why are you moaning about it on a podcast? But what hurts my feelings, because of course it's all about her, and it does upset me when your kids grow up, you go to their assemblies, their Christmas things, their awards, football matches, you're involved in everything they do. Yeah, that's called being a parent. But you do it because you now want to try and say to the world, look, I'm a really good parent, even though, of course, all of your behaviours point in the other direction. And knowing what my career has been, Princess has taken that same path and trying to do what I'd done, which I absolutely love and adore of Princess, but I have not been allowed to go to any photo shoot, no signings or Superdrug openings, because they don't want you there, because you're a car crash of a human being, but you don't get it, because your narcissism causes you to believe that you should be involved. It makes you think you should be involved because you're her mother, but the reality is it wants you involved because you're a narcissist and you need to control people and draw fuel from them. Why? Because I'm not allowed, she continued, and not welcome, and it puts people in a situation because I don't want her to feel she has to choose between me and her work because I want her to do well. I've said to Princess just how it feels to me, but I should be there to support you. Well, why don't you? And shut up and accept that she's an independent human being doing her own thing. But of course, she carries on by saying, I find it an insult because I've been in the industry 30 years, and if there is anyone better to advise or be there, it is me. Yeah, because look at your own career. Bankrupt several times, driving offences, estranged from your husband and then divorced. Yeah, you've managed things really well, haven't you? You really have had regard to the benefit of your experience in a constructive and meaningful fashion. Once again, the delusion of the narcissist, the pity playing of the narcissist, the need to elbow her way in. This whole behaviour is once again demonstrative of the way that the daughter is seen as a threat to her need for control, and while she tries to portray it as a concern on her part, knowing what she is, all you're able to determine through this article is that it's all about Katie Price, all about woe is me, all about how unfair it is, and all about her needs. Because this is what her narcissism demands. And it set her on the path to collision with her daughter, as it often is the case. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.